Q&A time on the CU podcast. This is from at the Unnecessary Fan. Thoughts on Nintendo's impressive first quarter sales numbers, particularly Animal Crossing selling 13.5 million copies and the Switch passing 55 million units.
I don't have a whole lot of numbers in front of me to make like profound statements, but I'll say I'm less concerned about Nintendo's first quarter sales numbers. The Switch has been doing well. The Switch has been doing very well. We know that
Excellently.
That's great. But I don't have a whole lot more to say about the Switch itself. What is interesting to me is Animal Crossing selling 13.5 million fucking copies. That's insane. How many copies of I know it's not the greatest comparison, but how many copies in total have sold of
Breath of the Wild?
Breath of the Wild.
I'll bring it up in a second. Where you going?
But I'll keep going. To put this like into comparison, this is to compare it to another game that had a lot of hype. The Final Fantasy VII Remake, I believe, did at least Japan only numbers. I could be a little bit wrong. I think this might be only Japan. Did something like 3.75 million in its first week, and I think under a mil its second week. That's a game that people have been looking forward to for a long time. On a system that has an insane install base and has been out for forever. So
Sure.
it should, what I'm getting at is the hardware it's on is not really a hurdle to moving units of it. So that's wild. And while Animal Crossing is a great game and I'm happy to see it doing well, I love Animal Crossing and always have. So much of that I think has to do with the current pandemic situation.
Obviously that.
It certainly
you can't find a
helped.
Switch. You can find Switch Lites. You can't find a regular Switch anymore.
Right.
In stores, it's like when it first came out for the first, 6 months, you couldn't find it.
And
easily.
I think it's very much a perfect game for a situation like now where people have to stay inside and they're cooped up. In Animal Crossing, you get to go outside in your own world and play and talk to people and build things and set things up how you want. And yes, I expect the game would have done very well. There was going to be a huge amount of press on it when it came out anyways, but then it came out during a week. It came out a week into lockdown, at least in Southern California.
So it's been like 6 weeks it's been out about.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it came out a week into lockdown in Southern California, and I think the chatter of it online that was naturally going to be there, mixed with the fact that people need something to do and it's easy to get into and very accessible to everyone, has just propelled the numbers of it through the roof.
So Breath of the Wild sales, trying to find up to date, as of January 30th, did 16.3 million on the Switch and 1.6 on the Wii U, so 18 million total. If you want to count just the Switch, then we'll just say 16.5. It's probably done about that in the past few months. Say 16.5 million.
So it's done. I'll be generous. Let's say it's done 4 million more sales. I'm just going to give it a big buffer.
Maybe 5.
It's done 4 million to 5 million more sales in 3 years than what Animal Crossing has done in 6 weeks.
If you're not counting the Wii U.
Yeah.
You can count the Wii U. It wasn't that many, but okay. Yeah, and obviously that's a huge attach rate. It was over 100% attach rate for Breath of the Wild when it came out. We talked about it before.
So,
I bought it before I got the Switch.
So I'm not saying that this has never been done, but
it's impressive for a game like Animal Crossing,
right? And I'm struggling to think of really recent numbers or really recent games that have done similarly. Like I said, Final Fantasy VII Remake, I figured would be a decent comparison because people already have the system. They don't even have to go out and get it. That is something that people have been looking forward to for decades.
Is this also doing that well because this is the first time, I guess, on this console or in a while where like you have a game that's this sort of, if you want to call it casual, that Nintendo's pushing. So and now with people playing mobile games more, they're more inclined to gravitate towards something like this.
Maybe, but I still don't think that would explain it. I think a lot of it has to. I think it's truly we're all stuck doing nothing, and word of mouth has really pushed this game into the forefront. Everyone's doing memes and stuff on this game. Guy Fieri had jokes about it. It's been everywhere.
It's a phenomenon.
Yeah,
it's become a phenomenon. It's like there's something that happens every few years when it comes to gaming, whether it's Fortnite or Minecraft or Pokemon Go where everyone's talking about it.
Yeah.
It just gets into the public zeitgeist, right?
Yeah, and I'll be perfectly
Also,
happy.
like-
It makes me real happy to see a game like Animal Crossing finally achieve that, because people are recognizing now what I think a lot of people have known forever, that games don't necessarily need to have these like hardcore goals to provide an experience that's engaging, especially one that's relaxing.
Trying to find download numbers for the Pocket Camp app to see how well it did.
Oh, geez, I have no idea.
Because that only came out less than 3 years ago. Okay. I downloaded. I never really played it. I think I set up. I never got into it.
I never did Pocket Camp. I've played almost every Animal Crossing.
It grossed the first year. It grossed 50 million, but I don't know what that means in downloads. Obviously, it probably did well. So, well, there you go. I mean, Animal Crossing is doing gangbusters, maybe because it's like you said, you're going outside. We're happy. We're fishing and hanging out with our friends. You can't really hang out with that many friends now. You're not supposed to.
Yeah, one of its biggest
Yeah.
appeals was this idyllic, happy world, and now that and that was before this, and now that we're in a situation where no one, it's perfect.
And in terms of Switch still doing better than I thought it would ever do, it's past what I thought it would do in its whole lifespan already. It's going to pass the NES at 62 million probably this year sometime. Maybe in like 4 or 5 months from now, it's going to pass that. Definitely by Christmas, it'll probably pass that. People like the concept of they just like this concept. They like the fact that it's portable. They like the game. Obviously, they like the first party games on it. And enough people, I always said people were dismissing the fact that they're skipping the Wii U. The Wii U did not have many people, so now okay. Now we're 14 years later from the Wii. That's a good enough time to get back into it. And now you have a family. Now you got your own kids. That's a proper distance. Like every 15 years, you know, if you skipped a couple of consoles, you come back in. There's a lot of nostalgia right behind the Switch as well. There is. They market it. The marketing's all like people like in their late 20s, early 30s for the most part. Like it's people that you know that, oh, this is not their first Nintendo console. This could be their third Nintendo console. That's how they market it.
Sure.
They market it to young adults, you know, which is fine. And obviously they have kids as well and share it with their kids. And I guess people just whenever they dismiss Nintendo, you can't dismiss their library of stuff. It's well thought out. They're high quality experiences. People don't feel shortchanged buying those first party, the first party stuff for the most part, right? No one says I feel shortchanged.
You have a couple people out there who will say things like, you know, Link's Awakening shouldn't have been 60.
Sure, I even said that maybe it shouldn't be that much.
But at the end of the day, no one gets real angry about these complaints. Even I would say, I mean, I love Link's Awakening. I'm sure you probably could have sold it for 40, but 60. At the end of the day, the polish and the work that goes into the games, I think if every Nintendo game was like that, you'd start hearing more complaints. But I think people complain less because they know they're going to put the effort into making it a decent game.
The biggest one I thought should have been a value title was 1-2 Switch. I thought that if that wasn't packed in, that should have been cheap.
It should have been.
Because if that was a $30, $40 game, they would have sold a ton of them. At $60, no.
Yeah.
That to me doesn't... That's the one where I say that doesn't provide the value. That's like a tech demo that they should have... They should have just... Hell, they should put it out right now cheap on the fucking eShop and sell. They'd sell a ton right now.
It's Nintendo, they won't.
Just for... I understand that they have like their sort of... This is the value of our stuff. Either you get it or you don't.
Right.
Which I respect that. But for something like that, 1-2 Switch, which is not going to be a franchise, like a one-off, yeah, put up for $20. You'd sell 1 million of them during the fucking pandemic just for the hell of it. Mm-hmm. You know, make something. But they're not like that. I kind of respect that, I guess.